Going to bring through some healing today, okay, and see where we can go from there for each and every one of you. Now, I don't know if anybody in this room is in despair at this moment, but when they use the word despair, it's either coming from the mind or the emotion, okay? And so you're trying to follow your notions, but yet you're being peeled apart, the difference between obligation and where your heart wants to start. So a lot of you are splitting different timelines and splitting different things through the seams. So if like you feel like 5 of Cups type of energy, 4 of Cups, which is stagnant energy, I'm kind of holding on because I don't know which way to go, because I'm struggling between obligation and which direction or where my heart wants me to go to. This, it might be the energy of the pull apart that you're feeling right now that they're telling me. So I wanted to break down the word despair for you. It's not that you're like sobbing in the corner and you're uncontrollable because you've had an acute attack of anxiety or whatever that might have you, like the tower realizations, right? And so you're having different realizations within your obligations versus where you want to be and where you want to do. Now they're talking about being proactivity here. So when they're telling me to be proactive, this is where you're going to have to really dive in spiritually between the difference of obligation and where you're being pulled to lead, because ultimately you have to understand that at the end of the timeline of where you're being pulled to lead is ultimately better than the obligation that you're sitting in. But yet in a human perspective, you can't see that just yet, is what they're telling me. So they said divine intervention. Now, a lot of you understand divine intervention being a miracle, right? Or being some type of miracle, but you have to understand that the miracle is the perspective change here. Thank you, Venus. And the miracle is the perspective change. So once you have the perspective change, everything else changes. So the realization between what you're obligated to, truly, ultimately, what you're obligated to in this human reality versus spirituality versus where your heart is pulling you to go can be 3 different times right now. 3 different things in this reality is what they're saying to me right now. So just know that you're releasing the human obligation, the human mind of the obligation, because forever working in the patriarchal system of the mind, you're now leaving the mind behind and the heart is opening up to what's new in sight, right? And so remember, the divine does not speak to you through human sight. The miracles do not come through what you can see. Now, the temptation and the devil energy will come through what you can humanly see, but ultimately the divine leads by sight, faith, miracles, and wonders, right? Sight, faith, miracles, and wonders. So that sight that you have is seeing things in the in-between and seeing things of the unseen is what's being said to me. And although this can be settling, this is a part of the dream. This is a part of the prophecy in which your reality internally flips so that the physical reality shifts. There's no other way. So the peel apart between the mind and the obligation and being led astray, being led into more of a devoted self and more of a spiritual reality, which is more of the divine feminine leading, which is move your ass and your mind will follow. Okay. Move your ass and your mind will follow. Free thy ass and the mind will follow. Meaning when you do first, the mind then becomes the slave to the action rather than the mind being the master and the body and the feeling being the slave to the mind. And so now you're flipping this all around in your highest timeline. So if you feel like you're getting jerked around and 1 minute you're having this thought, but then you're having this exuberant feeling of love and devotion and divine energy, go with this notion because you're flipping around obligation versus sensuality here, and you might be led into temptation with Venus in retrograde. So just be careful that you're not becoming too overindulgent in anything, because that's the art of temptation. See, You choose your distractions. You choose your temptations. You choose what you give your energy to. And a lot of you have misabused your gifts and your obligations, which has then misabused you. And it all comes back into the mindset through you. So in certain pretenses, what they're breaking that down to mean is you feel obligated because you have to do this. So then now you have a domino effect, right? Because you feel obligated to do one thing, guess what happens next? Another thing, and another thing, and another thing, and another thing, and another thing. Because you realize it's not just that one thing that you become obligated to. It's this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So you are breaking through all those obligations, okay, to get to the root. To get to the root, you have to break through the obligations of what you humanly see versus what you see divinely in reality. A lot of painting the picture of finality. My left ear is burning right now. So there's a lot of painting of the picture of finality, but you're being challenged into a new reality, realizing that nothing is finality. It's all infinite reality. There's a lot to digress. Give me a minute. Whew, there's like 4 different energies that literally were running through that moment in time. So let me digress and rewind here because they are asking me to slow down so that you guys can digress. So I'm going to slow down. I'm going to rewind. I know these things just come so fast, okay? That's why I try to get the recordings up on YouTube so you can go back through and digress the energy, because usually when I come on, it takes people 3 or 4 days to digress what was going on in the last live and what was being said through the transition into what's the next move. So we're always leading you to the higher self. We're always leading you to the divine in you here. So usually that's why I get to put up the YouTubes, is because they coincide from the transitions into the next. Okay, so let's say this, okay? I gotta slow it down and break it down back to behavioral mindset and patterns, and then we'll dive into the spiritual part again, okay? Yeah, we're gonna slow down the transmission. All right. So we're gonna put it in a storytelling mode. Okay, so you become a parent and you're obligated then to raise that child. Okay, in the correct mindset, you are then gifted and granted the obligation to take care of that soul, to raise that soul, to mold that soul, to help that soul grow. All right. And then as they grow, your obligations change, right? As they grow, your obligations change because their needs change, their desires change, right? Okay. And then as they grow and their obligations change, you're obligated to do different things because their needs change. Then as they grow older, we Gucci? Oh, okay. As you grow older, then what happens then is they move out. But yet the identity of being that parent and being the mother and being the referee and being the chef and being the teacher and being all of those identities are still there, which you then realize, wait a minute, I'm not obligated to any of those things anymore because that obligation is now out my door. The only thing I'm obligated to do is re-identify myself, because no longer am I obligated to those things. So there are many things that you have been obligated to in past human behaviors that you are now realizing that you no longer have to be obligated to. Whether it be a mindset, whether it be an emotion, whether it be something you used to be devoted to, but now you're not devoted to it anymore. So the spirituality here of understanding what's going on humanly in your reality versus spiritual is probably about 3 or 4 different things right now, based upon the levels that you're at. So now, at one point in time, you were at a job and you identified with that job. Well, guess what? You're on to a new role. You move to a new job, right? So your roles change. So your identity changes. Think at how many obligations you've obligated yourself to become an identity, which is an outside covering of a pill capsule. Think about it that way. The insides and then the outside covering of a pill capsule, right? And you know the ones they fit together and you put all the herbs and all that stuff inside, right? Okay? You literally sit there and you become that shell and that identity. And it's hard then when you move on to the next job. Now you learn some good traits and you had a shitty ass boss and you were gifted the chance to have a shitty ass boss so that when you become your own boss one day, you know not how to be a shitty ass boss. You were gifted the opportunity to then see over other people and not judge, but you probably did anyway because you didn't understand your obligation that was there at play was really spiritual. All of the obligations that you have obligated yourself to, they have all been spiritual, but yet you have humanly identified yourself with these obligations. And now the limitations of the human obligations and the spiritual are shifting. Okay? So that's the patriarchal mindset that is now going to become the slave to the heart space, to the divine intention intervention, because my team has now started to talk about divine intention intervention. Okay? Because when you have a divine intention to allow the divine to intervene where it needs to intervene at, you have moved yourself out of the way. No longer asking how, questions, why, whatever. The mindset has completely changed. I hope I have broke it down to you guys enough from a human aspect to a spiritual aspect for you to start and shift and trust. Okay? So all of these identities that you have identified yourself with. So like me, in a sense, okay? A licensed massage therapist for professional sports teams and major athletes, a master herbalist, a shaman, a quantum healer, a mother, a recovering drug addict alcoholic, a football coach, a football player, somebody that was going to go and almost made it to the Olympics in gymnastics. Okay, all of those layers gave me different identities throughout my lifetime. I also obligated myself to that type of energy. And so, but that energy then, whether good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. It was all happening for me to build multiple layers, right? And now those identities, okay, are falling away and the wisdom and the knowledge is coming forward to play, but that's being led through the divine intention intervention, which is the heart space. And so your realities are shifting because the miracle of the perception changing is the mindset. So you have undone all these things, and now you're all looking around going, what am I? Who am I? Which who and whoville am I now? Because this has changed, and that has changed, and how am I this, and how is this, and what am I, and where am I, and who am I? Here. It is not a what. It is not a who. There is no identity that you can identify with when you identify with everything and anything and the divine runs through you. There is no label. I have to label myself here for human understanding and purpose, but I say it all the time. I am everything and everything is me. I can't label myself. There's no label that I can take on because I understand the energy and it just is. So when you remove all these cycles, remove all these labels, okay, and you keep pulling back and keep pulling back and keep pulling back layer after layer after layer, okay, whatever, attack after attack after attack, and most of the time it's you attacking yourself, not even realizing it because you don't have the spiritual intelligence to define it. But all these experiences are teaching you the spiritual intelligence. That's the gift. Discernment. The perspective shift, which then causes the internal shift, which then causes the lift, the liberation, the freedom of the soul. Okay. Give me a moment. We're moving on. We're shifting again, so give me a minute. Beautiful. That's wonderful. I'm glad you have crazy dreams. Awesome. Write them down, journal them, and try to metaphorically ask what certain parts of certain things mean when they stand out to you. Sit in devotion, sit and ask and figure it out. You can do that. And so normally what I teach is when people are having dreams, whether it's a reoccurring dream or whether it is a dream that, you know, there's certain things that stood out, okay, write those things down. And you know how you used to have shitty ass behavior and you used to compartmentalize everything that everybody did, how they said it, when they said it, what color of clothes they were wearing and all that, so you could use it against them later? And you can keep it as your arsenal. Well, be a master of that, and now take those pieces like puzzle pieces, compartmentalize them, put them in a Rolodex like liar, liar, all the way back there. And when you get another piece to the puzzle, it'll become more clear of what that was or what that meant. But see, humans are too impatient to sit and divine and interpret and figure that out. Sometimes my messages don't come about for 10 days. I gotta pray, I gotta ask, I gotta get more clarification. What did you mean? The last video that I made about the art of what they are talking about with forgiveness or praying for others, right? You know, that message took about 4 to 5 days to actually be able to actually understand, understand, overstand, and then get the okay to put it out in that way. So when you sit with divine intelligence and you actually pull apart those pieces and use your discernment and your divine intelligence that you were already given, then you'll be able to figure out those puzzle pieces, metaphorically speaking, of what this means, what that means, because you're asking. Seek and you shall find, okay? Doesn't mean that you're going to find it when you want to find it, but seek and you shall find. It will always be given to you in your timeline if you ultimately have the gift of sight and hearing, and it's not with eyesight here, okay? So just know that there's a lot of different things that you are being told to put together, whether it be about outside atmospheric stuff. See, that's the most important, is asking the Spirit, asking Holy Spirit, asking the divine, asking God, okay, however you want to call that energy, okay, because it's all relevant. It all is the same thing. Could you get that? Thank you. And so it's relevant because it's all the same thing. And sometimes people are internalizing words too much. See, babble, words, frequency turn to words, left your voice unheard. So there's a lot of things of the limitations that you're leaving behind. So that's why, like, the Eight of Swords, Eight of Cups energy keeps on coming up for a lot of you, okay? So there's a lot of foundations that are building, and the only reason why I say that is because a lot of the time when I was channeling, I would always constantly write the letter M, okay? And I would always draw letter M. And now it's moved on to literally little houses, tiny little houses, okay? And so you're building the foundation of discernment, the foundation from within, right? And the only reason that you learn it, look, you're taught what is by what is not, okay? Think about how many times you learn what is by what is not. You learn what to do by what not to do. This is why the art of observation is pure, because it's a part of that receiving mode to allow the energy to change, to expose itself. So you are in a place where your foundations of what was once built is now shifting, okay, into what is. And that means that all of that dreamy Piscean energy and things that were in the ethers, the etherical layers, okay, universally speaking, the dreams, the realities, the things that you wanted to do to pull in through the etherical layers, all right? You are now trying to figure out how to build those foundational things. They're no longer in the etherical. You're being asked to pull those things down and pull those things through. All right, so the foundation of discernment, learning what is mon versus atmospherically outside. See, this is why a lot of people put out a lot of fear messages, is because they don't understand that the monitoring spirits and the energies that are out there are actually working through them to actually put those fears out there. And then once there's a certain plateau of frequency met, then that's where the energy goes and flows. All right, but what has happened now is that the light, okay, the understanding, those not in those realities that are playing out in their finalities, you're seeing the split even more now than ever in your reality. And so it's like your head's trying to tell you that shit's going to hell in a handbasket, but yet at the same time, this is just over swelling with the divine, and you're like, hold on a second, this isn't making sense. This is the divine working through you, the natural intelligence, the natural order here. And a lot of people are having divine revelations. Okay. And that's part of the shifts of the energy, the eclipses. This is why a lot of people are like, oh, it's go time. Here we go. It's go time. Here we go. All right. Yes. You're more in flow is what I'm supposed to tell you. You're more in flow. The more you know, you're more in flow. See, okay. I had to figure this out. Okay. Sometimes you guys try too hard and that builds your own resistance. Okay. And you just want to do things right. And it's that inner child fear of being scolded or being shamed that you're not doing something right. You're not saying something right. You're not going to do the right thing. But you have to come to the understanding that you can't fuck it up. There are many that are chosen. There are only few that will choose. What that means is to settle in the in-between. Allow the art of resistance to fall away at the seams and allow the divine flow to come through to what you is and what you know. That totally caught me off guard. That was like some weird Ebonics backwards terminology. Okay. Usually I don't speak it all the way through when they speak backwards, but all right. So, shit, that totally caught me off guard. I'm so sorry. And I totally cut it. Okay, thank you. The difference between what you think to be true and what reality is trying to show you. And when you are in a place and in a space of moving through, removing obligations, and sitting in understanding and understanding, okay, you have many divine revelations. You try too hard, and there you cause your own resistance. The natural flow and the natural order of things is to always perpetuate and move forward, to always move peacefully, to always move more into the light. But we cascade and stop that own my computer isn't even on, yo. Anyway, we stop the rhythm. We stop the natural flow by our thoughts, by our internal resistance of how things naturally want to go. Because we think that we know. Now, no matter what pathway you've always chosen, you are always going to lead back to your highest timeline. No matter what path you chose to go down. We all started here. Right? And then some of us went straight, and then we all fucking went this way, and we all went that way. We're talking about from birth, and we all went here, and then all went all over the fucking place. Right? That was a part of the game. Like a big old fucking maze. to try to find your way back home to you. The divine flow, the natural order, the natural divine feminine order. Your Mother Earth was never meant to be a way station, which meant your energy was never meant to be harbored, used, or used against you. But it was taught to you of how to use it against yourself. Okay? You were taught more how to use shit against yourself, okay, more than anyone else. See, we can establish boundaries with people. Why? Because we're so defensive, right? In certain timelines, right? We're so defensive, so we really don't have a problem because we don't trust nobody. So we really don't have a problem here with setting boundaries with other people. We have problems with setting boundaries with ourselves, okay? And so what happens is you start trying way too hard because you think that you gotta try and you gotta try and you gotta control and you gotta control and you gotta control and you gotta try and you gotta try. And then you just build a whole bunch of energetic cycles for yourself. Imprints, identities, all these things that you've catapulted, right? Kind of looks like, well, that's funny. It kind of looks like babble on a piece of paper. Your brain looks like spaghetti. Because you build all these energetic cycles and all these energetic ties. About the age of 21, 22, I was taught, we all know about STDs here, okay? But I was taught about sexually transmitted demons, all right? About the age 20, 21. And those soul ties that you cultivate. So when you cultivate soul ties to people, okay, you then also are ultimately karmically attaching yourself to all their things. Now, that's not only in intimate relationships, that's in family relationships, that's in, friendships, partnerships, that's even with jobs, even with all those other identities. You connect all these ties, right? Until you realize that all those ties were just to teach you about yourself. So you start trying way too hard, and then this is what you get. A big old bowl of spaghetti and shit. You assume karmas that are not naturally yours. You assume dharmas that are not naturally yours. You assume all this stuff. And then this is why the divine comes in and says, bam, sit down, fix your shit, clean yourself up, dust yourself off, de-stain yourself, right? You know how, back in when they all talk about the Bible and stuff and they all talk about being stained, right? You're de-staining yourself. That was a part of the healing, the understanding, all these new layers of you. You're de-staining yourself to become the most purified version of your soul that you can hear to bring heaven to earth. And in order to do that, the etherical life force energy of the divine has to do that. But in order to do that, you've got to get out of your mind. So breaking through the barriers of the timelines of what you caused to yourself, where all your accountability, blah, 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 because you didn't have to take on the emotional imprints of your parents. You didn't have to do all that stuff you chose to. And you tried too hard and you tried too hard. And then all of a sudden you waved your white flag and you said, thy will be done. Fuck this, because I don't know no more. I learned a really cool thing yesterday. I saw this video, and it was a really cool pastor that I follow. And I think it's Pastor Mike. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I want to voice the credit where it's due because it totally made understanding. I'm going to try to draw it out for you, okay? All right. This is pretty cool. All right. So, I'm going to teach you one of the divine miracles here. All right. So this is a plus sign. This is a plus sign. It's nothing more than a fucking plus sign right now. No, it's not the cross. It's a fucking plus sign. All right? Just deal with me. All right? Deal with my quick 2-year-old drawing. This is a plus sign. All right. This is you standing. Okay. Adding shit. And you're trying to withstand all the shit that you're adding. Okay. And we're talking about you thinking, oh, well, if I just do this, it'll make this better. If I just do this, it'll make this better. Right. We're adding all this stuff. Right. And you're standing and you're trying to stand on this solid ground while you're trying to hold this up, right? Well, if I just learn this and I just do this, it'll be this. And if I just do this and I'll just do this and I'll just do this. The divine didn't say that it was going to add shit. The divine said that it was going to multiply. So if you continue to sit here and stand on your own, thinking that you can survive, standing on your own will, your own knowledge, your own understanding, because how far did that get you? Not far. But in order to do that, you have to open up to trusting something different. In order to perceive, you have to believe, but in order to be able to perceive or receive God or the divine or source or whatever you choose to call it in this timeline that makes you feel alive inside, you call that. Go ahead. It's beautiful. I'm grateful that you found the place that you feel that you can call that you connect to. That's important. So here we are with this plus sign, right? And we're adding because we're going under our own understanding. What we think, what we thought, remember the best intentions pave the road to hell, right? What we think is the right way, what we think, that's the patriarchal system. We think too much. We got to learn how to trust. All right? Because the divine doesn't want that. That's not what we're here to do. The divine is here to multiply what you choose to surrender to, because when you take this and you turn it sideways, it becomes multiplication. But the only way that it turns sideways is when you surrender to the divine flow. Not what you think you know, not what you think you're supposed to do, not where you think you're supposed to go. But multiply, surrender into that divine flow, so then the divine can work for you and multiply what you have already inside you to do, be, grow, and achieve. Now, we're going to jump back into something that was given to me. There it is. A couple of days ago, because they're asking me to now. And so what happens is that we always lean into our own understanding because of our thoughts, right? Because we think. We don't sit with ourselves, okay? We think it's going to come with a cost if we sit down for a minute with ourselves and we ask for fucking help, all right? To not lead us astray, to give us the clarity and the wisdom, and everything else will come your way. And so what you have to do then, you don't have to, but it's really would be beneficial if you did, is that when you lean into your own thoughts, your own will, you only add more shit onto your plate. Whereas if you would surrender to the flow, not just the obligation. Remember, we started with the obligation, the obligations of what you think you know or what you think you are, or which Whoville and Whoville you are thus far is what's being removed. Patriarchal system is being removed so the divine feminine of the creator side can come through. It's been the masculine side of the creator that's been running on this patriarchal system forever. It's been the man's version. It's been the masculine side of the divine. There is no male God, no female God. Now what's happening is the divine feminine of source energy, of etherical energy, of life force energy is now coming forward because we're sick of it. We've lived it out. We did it. We are the seed of creation. It all started with us. We are it. And so these are the divine revelations that are coming through. Okay. the human characteristics in the human ego mind in multiple timelines, in multiple ways. We're not going to talk about the holograph and all the other things that are going on at play, but we choose to do it that way. We chose to, right? Just let it be there. All right. And so now the energy is switching because we're sick of it. We had to be sick and tired of being sick and tired of it. Self-seeking had to slowly slip away. Call it what you want, but self-seeking had to slowly slip away. The only way that self-seeking can slowly slip away is if you get to sit with yourself and remove the obligations and remove the distractions and remove the intrusions, because a lot of people don't even know how those things go, okay? In order for people to feel God, they need to perceive in order to receive. I'm going to read this a few times. In order for people to feel God, they need to perceive in order to receive. In order for people to believe, they have to be able to perceive in order to receive, to feel God the divine is real. In order for people to believe, they have to be able to perceive in order to receive, which is to feel God the divine is real. In order to feel God is real, they have to believe in something that the human mind can't perceive in this dimensional reality to receive. In order to feel God is real, they have to believe in something that the human mind, out of the way, okay, can't perceive in this dimensional reality to receive. Sit in humbled silence, reaching for more. If you truly want to connect to something more, you won't treat it like a chore. You'll receive what you need as you seek. Ye shall find once you bypass the mind. Sit in humbled silence, reaching for more. If you truly want to connect to something more, you won't treat it like a chore. You will receive what you need as you seek. Ye shall find once you bypass the mind. Out of the ethers and into your life, she will arrive because she has a date with destiny. Her ways are wild and her guidance is true. She may create chaos or what looks like chaos to you. This is all about the eclipses coming through, so listen really carefully. Out of the ethers and into your life, she will arise because you have a date with destiny. Her ways are wild and her guidance is true. She may create chaos or what looks like chaos to you. This might cause distress, but please rest your weary heart. You can trust. She knows best. Not to cause you havoc or grief, no. To get you to move your feet so you can take your seat. All bets are off. Destiny does not play by the rules like golf. She'll make you realize not all is lost and it didn't come with a cost. You need to know you can trust destiny, divine order on your behalf. Whatever goes astray, trust she knows the way. Bigger things are at play. Bodies in alignment, no longer on consignment. It's her hand closing doors, sometimes slamming them in your face. This is also you can take your place. Nurse your ego if you must, but when that happens, trust. But let your soul shout with glee because you have a divine date with destiny. Some call it fate, but that is the calling card from she. I don't know, but you guys are supposed to hear these. That's all I know. Which one? This one? Okay. All right, here we go. Last one, and then we're going to jump back into what I need to do today. I gotta do some healings here. All right? That's what I'm being told. So we're going to do some healing here, too, before I step into personal healing and stuff like that. All right? You're falling into what you are, not who you are. You're coming closer to the divine through multiple timelines. You realize the places of disorder that cause disease. Take a rest, please. It's all part of the natural process to become a part of the reality in which I intended it to be. The chaos and distress was not test after test, but it was divine order of forward progress. Trusting the process puts you humans in such distress, but it's what comes next that liberates your soul. The stories come together that are so very, very old. Don't believe all that's been bought, borrowed, sold, and told. Watch the stories of gold unfold. All right. The natural order You're going back to the natural order, and that's why it's so uncomfortable, because you don't even remember or know what the natural order is, because you've never even gotten to be that way, because you have been succumbed by identity, subject, role, whatever that is. So the truest of self has never been able to come back online in this timeline, in this version, and in this way. And now that's the battle of the obligation of the mind. The mind is saying that you feel like you're obligated to this and obligated to that. Actually, no. The only thing that you're obligated to is to literally master yourself. Why rush your healing when you can master your healing? The art of every feeling, the art of every circumstance, the art of ever knowing, because you're always leading and being led in advance. Why rush your healing when you can master it? And I'm not talking about boohoo healing. I'm talking about healing as in healing the identity wound, spending that time with yourself, figuring it out for yourself, but you can't even take the time to quiet your mind because you treat it like a chore. That's the dedication. You want to know why I get to do what I do? I dedicated myself over 15 years ago to the divine and my destiny and what was shown before me when I was 14 years old. That's why. This is not somebody that just came on this app 3 years ago, 4 years ago when I established Four Corners Healing. Been here, done that, been in it, sitting in it, living in it, experiencing it. I went to school of hard knock lives. I went to school of trials, tribulations, not just once, not just twice, maybe 3, maybe 4 times. Because I had to experience absolutely everything that God was going to put before me so that I would not kick a gifted horse in the mouth. So when I thought I was eating shit sandwiches, when I thought that it was just the devil up against me, again and again and again, God giveth and God taketh away. And the only thing that I can say is that the trials, the tribulations, the understandings, the experience, the over-experience, the under-experience, all of it has relevance to why I get to sit here today. I am humbled. I get to. The only time I get to show up is when the divine tells me to. You know how many days you can ask my husband. I sit here probably 4 or 5 days out of the week and I'm like, man, I can feel him pulling. I want to go on. I can feel him pulling. I want to go on. And I'm about to hit the button and it's bam. That's my own. I want to do it on my own. I want to. But the divine says no. It is a very, very, very disciplined place to be. Soon my husband's going to start a channel of what it's like to be married and to be with a prophet. Because he has firsthand experience. Sometimes I don't even like it. There's a few people that get to know that. They're like, oh boy. I get to live my life. I get to have a lot of fun. I get to do what I've always wanted to do. But I've had to remove and understand that everything was a gift. And if I chose, I would receive those gifts of humility, of understanding, of divine love, of compassion, of grace, of being in love with myself, trusting every aspect of myself, knowing exactly what I'm doing, but I don't know how the fuck I'm doing it, because I don't need to. I just have an understanding. I get to teach all this stuff, not just because I have certification after certification. Who gives a fuck about certification after certification? Experience, not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, 4, 5, maybe 6 times. Because you can literally sit there and learn anything that you want to learn, but until you have the experience of spiritual intelligence and discernment, and you have learned it and slept it and ate it and breathed it, you will not understand the assignment. The enemy will attack over and over and over and over again on your very purpose. You want to know where your divine purpose is? Look at where the enemy attacks you. All the time. All the time. I can't just get ahead. I can't just this. I can't just that. I bet you're speaking yourself into that. I can't. It's you against you. Then that energy, guess what? Is what you're calling to you and you're cascading to you, because it reflects the self-doubt. Or it's somebody else working through someone else. This is why you have to pray for the deliverance of other people. This is why you have to pray for the deliverance of other people. You have to pray for the deliverance of the evil, so then that person, that soul, stops becoming a window used against you. And then everything opens up for you. It's not really about forgiveness, although that comes with it, because you get to a point where you just see what it is. The forgiveness comes naturally. When you deliver others from the evil, you deliver yourself. It's equal. It's just. It is. It's the law. So when you move out of the egoic mind, okay, and you are able to allow the divine to take over and do its natural order and progress, you deliver other people from that evil, from that spirit, from that energy, okay? Being able to work through your mother, your father, your brother, your lover, your this person, that person, children, whatever the fuck it is. Those circles that you were in, boom, open up. That's what's called a breakthrough. Because not only does that deliver them, it delivers you. It delivers you of the regret, of the shame, of the revenge, of whatever hurt, of whatever pain. Yes, that's the forgiveness. But it delivers you from the evil because it is equal. So really, it's all about you and you being against you. But you have to see how it works for you, through you, and all over the place. And this is part of the foundations of removing the obligations of the human mind and the patriarchal system of the obligations of what you think you are, or what, who and whoville you think you are, and I'm this and I'm that and I'm this identity and that identity and all of that. But it's not. You're coming back home to the divine self of truth. The eternal master is you. It's always been you. They have always said, don't rush your healing, don't rush your healing. And here's the thing. It gets to a point where it's not necessarily about healing, but it's exactly about understanding, about knowing yourself. Why you're feeling exactly you're feeling, what's happening, all of that. Because once you master that, you master everything else around you. The identity. Okay? Oh, thank you. Oh, wow. You're so welcome. Thank you. So, the spirit of truth, yes. And so, when you sit in understanding, but a lot of people can't get out of that egoic mind, right? It's hard. But this is the system. This is why it's like, oh, the divine feminine. I've always been told, and people can vouch for this. I will speak some things now. I've always been told. Obviously, it is us and we are it. Okay? It is us and we are it. We came here from the inside to work outside. All women at the center and all vessels open, which means the energy of life force energy is going to then be the divine feminine, where it has been the masculine. And the masculine can't do their job until the divine feminine step into their authority. And this is why so much is changing for the divine feminine right now, so the divine feminine can step up into their authority. Okay? So then the men can do their job. And ladies, you're going to have your work cut out for you. I wish it was going to be simple. I wish it was going to be easy. I wish that you were going to be granted the perfect fairy tale man or woman or whatever you choose right in front of you. But that's not the way it is. Because once you master yourself, you get to teach your partner how to master themselves. Through leadership, through prayer, through many different things. Okay? And so you have to be able to trust yourself and know yourself. Because if you shaky, if you falter, if you do not understand what's going on before you at the altar is what's being said, then it'll crumble. And this is why you've gone through the struggle after struggle after struggle after struggle. So many of you now have broken all those cycles, okay? Like they say, no longer, bodies in alignment, no longer on consignment. So this was part of the energy of the Great Mind crossover with the eclipses the years ago, was starting to rise the divine feminine. So now it's full throttle and it's pushed forward. This is the art of creation and the seed of creation. And so this is why you're having to remove the obligations, the identities, and falling into receiving and believing. Okay, because the divine feminine doesn't work on the patriarchal masculine energy. She works in the divine feminine energy of flow, of creation, of just knowing, of guiding, of directing, of establishing. And then everything else falls into place. So you're learning how to do that and how to change that mindset mentally, emotionally, physically. Okay, it's not easy. It's a difficult task, but this is where you are so strong in the mind and you are so strong in the emotions, and this is why you have had to emotionally uproot yourself, put yourself back together, uproot yourself, put yourself back together, so you knew exactly what it was when it came through. The only way that you're going to know exactly what to do with this partner and be 3 steps ahead of this partner is because you already been through it all, my ladies and gentlemen. You've already been through it all. Okay? You are going to be 3 steps ahead. I promise you that. I promise you that. You're going to know exactly what... You're going to be like, somebody come get your boy. I swear to God, that's all you're going to have to do. Come get your boy. You see, you know, you don't have to do anything except for go. Come get your boy. And let God do what God does, because God does what God does best. You get to rest, but you're having to rewire the mindset. And it's really hard for the divine feminine to step up into that peel away process right now. Okay? Of flow, of creation, of not questioning where they go. And this was a message that they want me to go back to from yesterday real quick. And I know I got to step into a couple of those, so I apologize. Hold on. Don't yell at me. I hear you yelling at me. All right. So God gives you gifts that don't look like gifts till you gain the spiritual intelligence. Okay. The other one was this, and it came out this way. So some of you were here the other day. So in order, these were 3 different spaces that you were in. So what you're moving through right now is this whole thing, but what you're trying to get through is this bottom piece down here. And some of you are there. So just let me speak this in the air. In order to receive, you have to perceive a reality within that will become what you choose to see, what you want, and what you need it to be. Misalignments are not personal. They are spiritual. removing the internal violence with silence, no longer compliant to the energy that entertains lower dimensional vibrations, asking thee what attached me to that energy in the first place, releasing the programming of being responsible for others and responsible for your own internal change. Okay? Now, those of you that are above that game, you're in a waiting time frame. Removing devil energies internally, being the spiritual violence of the mind, attracting what you don't like to remove the vibrations inside. This Venus retrograde too is going to start and teach you about the really things that you really do like, or really being like honest with yourself and going, oh, maybe I don't like that so much. Okay. It's kind of attracting to you what you don't like, that temptation type of energy here. All right. The vulnerability to get you to really tap into yourself inside. Those of you, all right, that are past that realm or on a higher timeline, you have no idea what's here. You're curious about what comes next. Without the regret, you're learning, you're leaning into knowing it'll be exactly what you need and want it. No longer fighting with the higher mind. All right. Oh, dude. Masculine energy always comes with a cool little sassy twist. And so, but you are mastering yourself. This is why, yes, all of you are beautiful and all of you deserve to have the best type of emotional vitality, stability, and interpersonal relationship. And once you get there, that art of you being able to handle something else will be there. You will receive that. But you have to be able to receive yourself first. To be able to perceive yourself so you don't get caught up and fuck shit up in the best relationship that the divine is blessing you with, this unionship in this timeline. Because in order to go through that process, you're going to have to know yourself best, and you cannot rush your healing, but you can damn well master it so you can help somebody else master it. My team has always said, Dragonfly whizzes by and sings, now teach it. You are the gift. You are the gift. Be the gift. All right? You are the gift. Be the gift. All right? We're going to jump in and do a little bit of healing here. All right? It's okay, so they're gonna dive in. They're gonna tell me here where they really want me to move, where they really want me to work. If you guys would like to stay, I know a lot of you enjoy this energy. I get a lot of messages and a lot of text messages after, and they're like, dude, I felt euphoric as fuck for like hours upon end. And I'm like, okay. And then sometimes you'll crash, sometimes you'll get tired, sometimes you'll stay on that wave. All right. Sit with yourself. I ask that the gift that you were given, please give it freely to someone else, whether that be yourself, whether that be your connection, whether that be in a form of creation. All right. It is the life force energy that comes through me. It is of me, but it's not mine. I hope that makes sense in your higher frame of mind. And so I just get to be the vehicle and the vessel for this. So there's a lot of shifting, there's a lot of twisting, there's a lot of things that, you know, you're removing, but you feel all this beautiful energy inside. And that's what they're trying to get you to tap into, is the higher mind, the higher state of consciousness, bypassing the thought process, getting yourself wrapped up again. Obedience, right? So I guess those are some of the things that we're going to be working on here compatibly here, is what they're telling me. Now, in the divine space, when we're talking about the divine frequency of love, okay, from above, we're not talking about the divine frequency of an intimate relationship or the divine frequency of a unionship here. We're talking about the divine frequency of love here, right here. And so I want you to understand that when they talk about working on the frequency of love, this is what's coming through from the above. It is not working on your personal relationship issues or wounds or anything like that, but that energy will be relevant to you in your own experience for you to use to heal that stuff if that's what you're going through. They actually call this is one of the quantum healings that I get to do with Yeshua. It is something I offer on the website there, but this is what we call the sacred heart activation. Okay. So they're asking me to activate some of you in that way as well and connect to that divine feeling and allow it to swell. Some of you may start to bawl, you may start to cry, and I wish I could be joking, but I'm not. But you might start to fall, you might start to cry because you're going to feel the over passion of the love and the overwhelming love that you actually do have inside, which is the connection from above. So just know that as well. Okay, you ready? All right. So you guys got some cloudiness from stuff that you're recently coming out of in your auric field. If you would like to look at the Sacred Shield Auric Field Sugar Scrub Cleanse that we have available for you, I would suggest that. What that is for those of you that don't know how to take spiritual baths, can't take spiritual baths, don't like a bath, you can jump into that space and take advantage of that sacred art of Auric Field Sugar Scrub Cleanse. But that will help you remove some of the last bit of that emotion. It's just cloudy here on the left side, which is past relevance here. And I'm just clearing some of that out because before I can actually go within, I've got to clear the auric field out of the transition that a lot of you just made to begin. So some of you are going to feel this in your heart. Three. Yes, thank you. We're working on the third strand DNA for those of you that are wondering where and what we're working on. There's been a lot of misinformation that you have consumed about Jesus, about God, about revelations as well is what they're saying here. And this is some of the stuff that you're trying to dispel of what is and what was and how to be and what to follow and what to cause. And just allow the divine to allow you to feel freely of what you feel like doing. There's no wrong in this timeline, you have to understand that that has all been unwinded. You're always going to be divinely led back to that connection, or what it is for you, or what it feels like to you. Some of you are dealing with a block in the crown chakra to the star chakra. Some of you are dealing with a block because there's only 2 strands coming down. So we're going to start and work on the 3rd strand and activate the 3rd strand here. There's the second block. There we go. Some of you have had a connection drop. So like, what I mean by this and what they're showing me right now is some of you have had a connection drop, meaning you haven't heard from guides, or you've been trying to connect to guides in a while, and there was some type of connection drop, or you have felt some type of connection drop. This connection is re-implementing itself, but it's re-implementing itself in a new direction with a higher state of frequency. So whatever energies you were working with in the past, in a sense, they have left because they have to go back and level up their frequency to your frequency. So you're being gifted a new set of frequency, a new set of guides is what they're telling me. And this is why there's been a disconnect. So sit with self and reconnect with self and allow that new energy to come in, and allow that new energy to give you its what we call signature, which means then that energy and you have a signature feeling, a signature touch, a signature connection, whatever that is, so that you know that's always that connection to that energy here, okay? But that's why there's been a stop in communication, is because those guides cannot level you up anymore. Okay, so we are gifted certain guides at certain times, and then because we level up, they have to leave and they have to go learn more and stuff like that. So you're not without protection. You're not without guides. There are guides there around you. They're just waiting for the reconnection. But a lot of you are like, oh my God, I can't hear. I can't see. I haven't heard from my guides in days. This is why. It's a higher frequency because you've raised higher in the conscious mind. There we go. Thank you. All right, they're happy, they're clear, they're good, we're good. All right, I'm going to disconnect fully. All right, so give me just a second to completely disconnect from you and disengage from you and disengage from this energy. I'm euphoric and high too, and let me try to come back to my own perfect sight. All right. Holy Spirit, God, the divine archangels, at this time, I ask that you allow us to disconnect freely and discontent from each individual here. Thank you for being here with us today, and thank you for allowing me to receive, and thank you for allowing me to be the vesicle with you and for this collective of people here today. I humbly thank you. Will you please disconnect all of our energy and put us back in perfect peace and perfect harmony? Thank you. Bless. All right. So here we go. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for engaging in that with me. If you guys would like more personalized work, that is all available. If you guys would like mentorship, if you whatever that is, where you need work, trust me, it's there. We offer it. All right. Take care of yourselves, guys, and each other. All right. If you need anything, the link is in the bio, or you can donate. You can reach out to me at fourcornershealing37.com. Thank you. Till we meet again. Mwah. You're welcome. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you. No, I usually jump off here because I know you guys appreciate me, and I can feel it, and I appreciate the words, and I appreciate the love, and I appreciate the curiosity. I appreciate the questioning, because the more that you question, the more that you seek, the more trust you're going to gain in you, and the more trust you're going to gain in me. So thank you. Thank you for questioning. Thank you for sitting there in relevance, because trust me, there's many people that sit here and they watch me and they keep coming back and they keep coming back. And there's been people that have been here for 2, 3, 4 years, and they finally trust themselves to come forward. All in divine timing. It's real. Enjoy that feeling today. And if you need some more understanding, some more divine intervention, we're here for the healing. Take care of yourselves and each other. All right? Till we meet again. Mwah. Hydrate, rest, repeat. You know it.